Take
16.
2. Hi, I'm Tommy Wood.
And I'm Marc Benton.
We're doing a YouTube interview for Script2Movie, a service of award-winning screenwriters.com.
How did you two meet each other, get interested in screenwriting? Do you always write your scripts together as a team?
Well, we met in high school in rock bands and just continued to be friends. Went to each other's wedding. Well, I don't know, did you come to my wedding?
Yeah, I went to your wedding. We used to video all the time when we were kids. We couldn't do anything without videoing it, so yeah. That's, I guess, where it started. Even though what's funny is back then we never really talked about making movies necessarily, but it's funny that we look back at that and we're always filming stuff. Because I don't write. That's why it's unique. I am horrible at writing, but I am an idea guy, so Tommy basically writes most everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of lines here.
Yeah, I mean, you have several other really original scripts: Antigone, Chasing the Wind, and Doors. What's it like living in Georgia and trying to break into the movie business?
And it's better for maybe raising kids than the bubble of Hollywood. But there are many days I look at the walls of my office and I think, I am in the wrong town.
Do you plan to sell any of these scripts to major Hollywood studios or produce them yourselves? Are you looking for a literary agent to help sell your scripts?
Sure, we'd sell one of our scripts. It helps pay the bills, you know, get your foot in the door. At the same time, if one of these films that are really close to my heart stayed with me until I had the money to do it myself, I'm cool with that too.
Your script, Pieces of Eight, has placed in a semi-finalist of motion picture.
Why don't you do that question over?
Yeah, let's start this again. Cut! Shall I stop it? Nick, why can't I read this question?
I'm going to read this question. Your script... No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to read this one. All right. Your script, Pieces of Eight, has placed as a semi-finalist in the prestigious... ranking 30th out of roughly 49,000...
This question is too long.
Your script, Pieces of Eight, has placed as a semi-finalist in the prestigious Academy of Motion Pictures of Arts and Sciences Nichols Fellowship, ranking 30th out of roughly 4,900 applicants. The story takes place in 16th century Spain. How did you go about researching the background of the story?
That's your deal.
My dad asked me that last night after he read the script. He's like, how'd you know all this stuff? I did about 6 months of research on 16th century Spain, 16th century kings and the queens, and the politics and the religion. Where I didn't like history in high school or college, I really enjoyed that.
Because you have a goal.
That's right.
I guess. Well, I guess you still have a goal in college.
Not really.
Next question. In Pieces of Eight, Miguel... I don't even know. Arias. Okay, let me try this again, since I'm supposed to be part of the script. In Pieces of Eight, Miguel Arias is... Arias. In Pieces of Eight, Miguel Arias.
Yeah.
In Pieces of Eight, Miguel Arias is captain of a Spanish galleon and is bereaved of his family in the Inquisition. He becomes a feared pirate bent on exacting revenge and finding his lost son. How did you pick your lead character, and did you get your inspiration from Pirates of the Caribbean movie, or Pirates of the Caribbean movie? However you want to say it.
First of all, we did not get the inspiration from Pirates. We had already written Pieces of Eight when Pirates was in production, and
we get asked that all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, and we don't we don't really consider Pieces of Eight actually a pirate movie. It's kind of like Gladiator on the water. You know, Gladiator is a movie that has gladiators in it, but the entire film, the scope of the film, is not about gladiators. It starts when he was in the war, and it has other elements to it. So there are well, that gets into the inspiration behind the story. For the hero of Pieces of Eight, we wanted to explore what would make a man in the 16th century or the golden age of piracy become a pirate, just a regular guy like me or Mark, because we're so regular.
Yeah. I don't even know what that means.
But what would drive a guy to do that? And so I decided to go the full spectrum of someone who's actually leading the Spanish Navy, not just a guy who wants to leave his home and parents or something like that and wants adventure, but someone who's essentially forced into it. In Miguel's case, because he was religiously persecuted.
You're currently in the process of making a movie, Grilling Bobby Hicks, with your production company, Stimulus Films. Where did you get the idea for this story, and what is this film about? I'll let you handle that one.
The idea for grilling Bobby Hicks just came from the title itself. I don't really know where, it just sort of came out of the air one day and called a guy, Shannon, that we co-produced the film Grilling Bobby Hicks with, and I said, I get this cool title, I don't know, maybe we could explore some ideas. So, long story short, we wrote the film based on the title.
And I didn't co-write that. Shannon did. Shannon co-wrote it with Tommy.
Yeah, but we all are real interested in filmmaking, so we collectively got together and decided to produce that film independently of the studio system. And
what's it about?
What's it about? Well, it's about a small southern town, kind of like where we came from, and the town bully ends up dead and cooking on his barbecue grill one night. So it's kind of got this dark comedy, grotesque humor side. And it's really about the people in the town and how their life changes after Bobby's dead. He's sort of the connective element that ties them all together.
How far along in the filming process are you, and which festivals will you be submitting the film to? Well, we're doing that now.
Yeah, we're done filming. We actually had a crazy process with this film. We shot for 3 weeks. We ran out of time and money. So then over this, that was in the fall of '06. So then we shot for 6 extra days in '07, essentially for buying people food. And we borrowed cameras, we borrowed labor, and essentially shot the last week of shooting for free. So let that be a lesson to you young filmmaker guys. We just got accepted to the Macon, Georgia Film Festival, and we have about 10 more to submit to, and we've already submitted to about 6.
Did you finance the movie entirely with your own funds?
We set up a PPM, which is the kind of thing you offer an investor. We raised a total of $40,000 in investment money, and the rest of it basically came off the producer's credit.
Will Stimulus Films focus mainly on horror films? What is the next project in store for the company?
I tend to write towards period, and if it's not period, it's at least action adventure
or redneck comedy.
Or redneck comedy. I never wanted to be known as the redneck comedy guy, so definitely have a lot of things we want to explore in film.
What is the next project?
We're not sure.
Probably a documentary.
We're working on a documentary now about my daughter, and she has had heart surgeries. But as far as a narrative feature film, we have one plan in place that we can't mention. If that's not the one that pans out, we've got a lot of things to pick from. Well,
that wraps up our interview for today. If you want to find out more about our screenplays, you can go to www.stimulusfilms.com. This has been a YouTube interview for Script2Movie, a service of award-winning screenwriters.com. See ya.